Hello guys, my name is Nato Safix. Today we're doing yet another Gosu Academy session. Today we're talking about why so many top players, and I would say players in general, dislike Vertigo. What changes have they made to the map recently and how do they kind of affect gameplay? And then, as a guy who used to enjoy the old Vertigo, I was a big hater of this map, and I would say I'm still not a big fan of it. But it is growing on me, and the more I play it, the more I understand how the new map is supposed to be played. This session, instead of being it definitely will be informative, but instead of you guys learning like a bunch of new tricks and stuff like this, I guess you'll still learn a bunch of new tricks on Vertigo, but mostly what we'll be talking about is, exactly why do pros dislike the map. What changed, because at some point Vertigo was like a decently popular map at least, and also what do you need to understand on this new Vertigo to play it well and to hopefully start liking it. So we'll quickly just move through the map. I did a Vertigo session quite a long time ago now for the Gosu Academy, where we talked about how, as a CT, you should play the map, like basically play every single position. I used to do this a lot. I think we'll probably revisit it sometime soon, because I will have learned a lot of new stuff. And essentially, what I said was just, as a B player, try just not to die for the first 5-10 seconds. As a mid player, majority of the time, just use your Molotov. This buys you those 5 or 10 seconds. And by doing so, you would be able to get information on A. If you see that they are running up A, well, now you can leave mid and B somewhat. If you see that no one is on A, now you need to be extra careful on B and mid. And that is like what I thought was so nice about Vertigo, was that majority, basically, like 2 out of the 3 areas that the T's could play in, you could basically block at the start of the round. So for the T's, on their default, it was a whole lot about, using smokes to make it difficult for the CTs to gain information towards A, and therefore not allowing them to kind of stack or gamble. I remember specifically as well, one of the things that I talked about is that Vertigo was a unique map on CT side of A, for the reason that there were kind of 3 phases. So there was like an aggressive phase, which most teams would start with, where, while running out of spawn, you would be doing a smoke that lands down here. This is how the map used to get played. And then, you'll be fighting and trying to own this space, or some teams would even be doing the deep ramp smoke. And then this would be kind of how CTs start out every single round. They would be trying to play the aggressive phase, and if they then would be pushed back, there would be 2 other options. There would be like the full retake phase. Now, the full retake phase was where you would actually back away without making sound, and you would be playing with just retake utility. So this one was a super popular grenade. I believe it was like this, where you would Molotov the A side, and this was kind of how a lot of rounds were played, because there was this opening. If you're new to Vertigo or whatever, this opening wasn't here. So the only places CTs could play from was through this or through heaven. And from heaven you could do this, or you could even do a nade. And this was like a lot of how this map got played. There was also a third phase, which was, I would say, a little more advanced, which was like the repush phase, we'll call it. This was like, I guess, re-aggression phase is kind of the way, but what people would sometimes do is they would come over here and they would aim, I would aim here and then crouch and then jump throw. The way it used to be, at least, the flash would like bounce on top of this. I mean, you get the same result now if you maybe aim slightly lower. Let me see. That was a little bit too low. Let me try it in the middle. Let me try it slightly below. I mean, it's not so important that you do this flash perfect, but it was a pretty cool lineup. So basically, the flash would be landing like this. I've shown it before again in an old session, but this one is quite insane. because it lands very high up and it's very instant, basically. So this was an example of the repush phase. I remember back then I also showed, I believe it was like this smoke, which goes into yellow quite deep. You kind of win that area, and then you could do a Molotov, which was something like this. And I guess that one is slightly different, or I messed up the lineup. It might be here. It's definitely not here, so I guess this one doesn't really work the same. Oh, it should. So now you see you basically Molotov off this, so the T's had to decide do you want to go in front or behind, and also they couldn't be standing on top of this sandbag. This is like examples of teams doing the sort of repush phase. Now, the reason why I thought that was kind of good map design was that it's rare that you have a bomb site that can be played in so many different ways. Think of traditional bomb sites, for example. If you take, let's say, Mirage B site, that is a place where you can definitely play the sort of, well, I guess it's not really an aggressive phase, but there's like there's information gaining where you're jumping, and then there is also the option of aggression or re-aggression, but playing retake is basically impossible, and no one does it. For Vertigo, this was like a must, being able to do it, all three things, and that's why Vertigo was such an interesting map on CT, because it was very difficult to play well. Now, another part of why Vertigo was so, in my opinion, interesting to play as T and CT in CS2 was because there were a million one-way smokes. I don't even remember them anymore. I feel like it was like this or something. I guess that doesn't work anymore. Maybe it's just like that. But people would be throwing smokes like this that would land like this, and you could go up and you could play like kind of one way around it, and basically the CTs wouldn't be able to see you at all, and you could play all these angles. So anyone who had like a really good understanding of how to use one-way smokes, or anyone who had a really good just understanding of the map, could almost default A against 3 players all alone. So it was, I think, the PUG map where I in solo queue had the highest win percentage, because I was always very good at Vertigo. And when you knew all the one-way smokes, you had an understanding of how teams would be playing, you could completely outplay your opponent every single time. And that's what I thought was the beauty of Vertigo. Now, obviously in CS2, if you do this one-way smoke, for example, all the CTs have to do is they have to blitz the smoke, basically. It's a little bit hard to throw this in no clip, but you can obviously explode the smoke, and now this doesn't work as one-way cover anymore. That's why Vertigo now has changed to be a map that gets played different, essentially. So this first part of the session is almost all about why was Vertigo, I think, kind of fun and interesting in CS2, and why is it for some people less fun now. I think the way Vertigo worked before, where this was closed off, was actually again a quite interesting map. Like people had lineups from down here where you would you know, smoke off and it would land into connector. I remember my teams also had like this, where you could if you aimed anywhere here, basically you would like run, it would always go in and land inside the connector, and it would fully fill it up and stuff like that. And get was still a difficult place, stuff like this, but now with the new opening, it's more difficult to play this map solo queue. It has basically just made the map much more difficult to play as T, because there's more things that can go wrong. And when I talked about the oh, did someone want to say something? Sorry. Okay, I guess not. But basically, when I talked about the 3 phases that were on the last Vertigo, I didn't even talk about the fact that you could boost here. You could also boost here. You could basically boost either side and have like a ton of information, stuff like that. And now, with this opening being there, I will explain to you how I think it has changed gameplay for the worse on Vertigo. Obviously, it's this opening that's been added. I think the bomb site has been made slightly bigger maybe. I'm not quite sure. I think this feels definitely.
Catwalk.
Yeah, exactly. And they've added the catwalk basically. So I want to talk now about why, or like what the new changes have kind of caused, and also how you as a T should adapt to these changes. So I talked about it already. I'll just probably keep revisiting it a lot, but basically, you had the 3 phases, like the aggression phase, the re-aggression phase, and the full retake. That's how you played the map before. Basically, in this new map, the full retake phase, it almost doesn't exist. Because the A side is so much bigger now that you can do so much as CT. You can like almost take timings around the A side, which means playing full retake is just less. It's less used. You can still do it, but typically you will try to win the rounds earlier. Whereas before, a full retake could be a last resort type of thing. But now, what I struggle with, and let me go over to the T side real quick, is obviously in Counter-Strike it's a game of 5v5, and the way things worked before was that if you had the front spawn as T, you could come here and you could Molotov this. It would land like this and it would burn, in here, and it would burn out here. This is clearly still possible. The problem is that in the old Vertigo, CTs would have to run here, run through connector, run out here, run this way, run here, and then get to here. And now the Molotov would be here. But with the new opening, even though they've moved the spawns back slightly, which I think they did, CTs now, if they have a good spawn, will always be at gap before the Ts, and will actually be able to peek with AWP and kill you as you're throwing this Molotov. So a really big part of Vertigo has been changed in the fact that the CTs have a faster timing now in A. This used to be a really difficult area to deal with, because if an AWP comes here, it as T is very hard to kind of cross. There are a few ways to deal with this. I will show you. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I think there's no glass here anymore. I'm not sure even if I know the lineup. I probably don't. Is it like this? Probably not. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Anyway, it's very close. I think maybe you even go up here, or there's probably something where you line up here. Imagine this, right? And let's say like this. But imagine it doesn't hit the middle thing. It will basically go over and it will land like this. This is one Molotov that people can use now, which forces the AWP off the angle. But obviously the AWP can just step behind this, push you a little bit more out in the open, but still it allows you some duels, basically. Other options would be something like you can do this flash. You go in here on this double click. Now, if we try to go up here and imagine I'm an AWPer, this is a flash that will take you. And I do believe there's a lineup. I don't know the lineup exactly, but there is a lineup where you can do you can flash for yourself. Something like this, perhaps. Let me see. Yeah. So this one is kind of more like you can do it for yourself. So you flash and then you swing with the flash. And yeah, this is also an option. It's a little better for solo queue. Now you've seen the flash if you didn't know about it already. But essentially just removing the person in this area is quite difficult compared to how it used to be. Other ways people are right now trying to deal with this is, I don't know the lineup for this smoke. I'll probably know it very soon. But teams have started throwing a smoke down here in some place where they can play behind it, so they have like angles above it. I definitely think I didn't throw it right. I think it needs to be a little deeper. Like imagine smoke that lands maybe more like here. If I threw it right, this is going to give me kind of like one-way vision, or at least it will be much harder for an AWP to hold these angles because I'm standing behind the smoke. So this is one of the ways that Ts are trying to counter these angles, like CTs taking straight up fights. But yeah,
How do you feel about smoke? You know, there's a smoke T's can throw from spawn that lands and blocks off side hall for the CT. How do you feel about that smoke?
so the one that lands here,
Yeah.
um, I do think it is kind of interesting, but what I find is that if you have the smoke here, CTs will a lot of the time just use it to go out here with AWP, for example, and you have more or less the same angles. Um, I think it doesn't really change all that much, and um, I also don't really see teams use it very much lately. I haven't watched that much Vertigo, but it seems like it's not that much of a meta smoke. It was better in CSGO in my opinion, because in CSGO the idea of landing the smoke here meant that as a T, when you were coming up here, you could see under the smoke. So if anyone walked out, you could shoot them through. Whereas as they were walking out, they obviously don't have eyes on their feet, so they couldn't see you, and that was what made it really interesting. I don't think with the volumetric smokes it's kind of possible to get that same feeling. So now, obviously, the smoke will still be good, but you will always have to cross out into this space anyway, and it can still be kind of tricky. But it's a decent smoke to know, I guess. Yeah. So basically, let's say I have a really good spawn and I take the risk and I do this Molotov. Or let's say I have a teammate in ladder room who goes and does this Molotov for me, right? That's basically one Molotov out of the equation. And let's say I've also used either a smoke here in the corner or I've used this smoke down here. As I'm walking up here, there are so many things the CTs can do. I'll just try to list them all. So obviously, if I'm late, someone can be here, right? If I'm really late, someone can be hiding here and be getting flashes because you can't see them. Like they can get a flash in front and they can check. But those are already two pretty difficult things to deal with. But as you're coming out here, this is probably not something you are worried about, let's say, every round. But when you're just here, if the CT's triple boost here, they will actually be able to spot you, kind of like this. And yeah, again, it's probably not something you would do in a buy round, but in a forced buy round, this could be expected. And even in a buy round, it's not that bad of a boost, honestly, because you get so much information and it's very unexpected. Then as you're coming up here, when you jump up on this, they can be on this boost and they can be on this boost, and they can also be, sandbags. They can also be standing and holding this. And so for you to clear this, sorry, I had to sneeze. For you to clear this, you will definitely want to use another Molotov sandbags, because this is an area that is almost impossible to clear out if you don't use a Molotov for this. Then, as you're coming up here, what is very meta right now is that you either do this, that you go up here into this, and you aim here at the more visible line, and you do like an underhand jump throw. This Molotov's back off gap, and it also burns the boost, so this is a very key Molotov to do. Another way is you can just go slightly up on this and aim here, I believe. This one lands a little bit more towards gap, but it still takes the boost and it still, burns people back from this area. So now we've already used, 3 Molotovs, and then there's still the chance that they can be on this boost. Obviously, there isn't really a good Molotov we can throw for this. But then as we're coming up to the A-bomb side, depending on how we execute, which I'll talk more about, we will probably want a Molotov on headshot, because this is still a position that gets used a lot. And ideally, we will want this Molotov as well. You go here, you aim here at the corner of the shadow, you do a W jump throw. And this one goes over, and it Molotovs on top of CT heaven, and it also kind of Molotovs the rotation if the CTs want to run through this. So, anyone see the problem? Okay, I guess I will say it. The problem, at least how I see the A side of Vertigo, is now for you to take everything in a safe manner. So what would be kind of a perfect default, you essentially need 5 Molotovs. And the problem with having 5 Molotovs is, this Molotov on B is quite useful to clear danger. If you're wanting to put pressure mid, a lot of teams do. I don't even actually know this Molotov anymore. Let's see this. Well, pretty much this, but one that lands slightly further. I guess this one is actually not even that bad. Actually kind of a good Molotov. Let me check this. Because it burned down and up. It's actually a banger Molotov. I don't know if people know about this. Yeah, legit, this is actually a really, really strong Molotov. That's what you sometimes get for not learning the lineups. It's better when it lands like when it's slightly below. Sorry, now I'm interested. I am intrigued. Slightly below that. Oh my god. Or even it's slightly more to the right, I guess. It's actually the fix. Maybe this dot. That is a banger Molotov. Okay. I suggest you use this if you're playing Vertigo. But yeah. Essentially, when you're taking space on A, for you to do it in a perfect manner, you kind of will need 5 Molotovs. There are some that can be saved. I would argue, you know, this one could be saved, especially if you use a flash. That's probably what you'd be wanting to do. The sandbags Molo is like a kind of non-negotiable. You have to have this Molotov if you want to clear sandbags in any good way. I would also say the Molotov back of gap is also sort of a non-negotiable. Like you can go and you can peek this without the Molotov, but it's pretty difficult to make this work. And you also eliminate the boost. So this is just a kind of must-have Molotov. And I would say if you're executing, like being able to do this Molotov, it eliminates an AWP angle and it also eliminates the rotations basically. So this one is also like basically a must-have. And also the headshot Molotov, if you don't do that, then this guy can be here. So it really is just a very, very difficult map to play. And especially in solo queue because, and I think this is where it really goes wrong. Now you need so much coordination on your T side to actually clear out areas. And that's, you know, if you decide to not use utility or if you don't have utility, this is where the CTs can, do a whole lot of things. I mean, I kind of talked about it, but you can be here, you can be here, you can obviously be just peeking here, you can be jump spotting here, CT, you can be sandbags, you can be, like, I guess some people even play some kind of off angle like this. I don't see it much. There's off angles from catwalk, like this one, for example. There's headshot. There's heaven. Some people even choose to play like this, where you can like hold catwalk and you can actually also check. I mean, you can check this and you can check this, and you can swing for this. Like this is a really strong position, I think. Well, it's not really strong, but it's a position where you can kind of help everywhere. It's a good position to play A alone, I guess. You can play from con with AWP. You can play from, my team calls this main. I guess my team actually calls this arch. But it's just like a million opportunities for you as CT on A. And the problem with that is, I think Vertigo now, with this new opening and the catwalk, is at a point where it's probably one of the most RNG maps we've ever seen. I had this issue with Overpass at times as well, where as T, for you to actually clear out all the CT aggression in a good way, even if you do a perfect default, it means you have no utility left. So it is a map where you had to rely a lot on instinct and being able to read where the opponents will peek you from. Because CTs had so many options for aggression. Anyone who's like watched Overpass in CS2 before it was removed, it was like people would be doing the mid smoke, then they would do a playground Molotov, and then they would get a flash mid. Then as T, you were slowed down by at least like 7 seconds, and then it could be an AWP on multiple angles, all these kind of things. And I feel now Vertigo is the same. And I feel actually, in a way, the reason that Overpass was a little broken was because of how many things the CTs could do. And in a way, I feel the same on the Vertigo A bomb side. The CTs simply have too many options right now, and there's too much utility that needs to be used to actually have a chance at the T side. I heard someone mention, which I kind of agree with actually, that this new Vertigo could be quite interesting to play if they would close this again. First of all, obviously we talked about it, the timing of peaking gap to a ramp would again be something that's more 50-50. On top of this, you don't need to use a smoke for this. So just doing, you know, this Molotov that we talked about earlier, that would be enough for you to take this area. And then just closing this, but keeping the catwalk, would allow the CT still for some, I guess, let's call it creativity, but while still preserving the kind of identity of the old Vertigo. And I personally really, really like this idea. Okay, now I've talked a little bit about what are the issues. Why do pros, like top players, but also I think players in general, dislike playing this map? So why do top players play it? I think it's because right now it feels like RNG. And I think actually that's what people disliked on the old Vertigo as well. Talked about it already, but the many one-way smokes and people, you know, creeping up into a smoke and getting a flash randomly and stuff like that just meant that the map felt very random. And from what I find, professionals prefer to play maps that aren't very random. Because if you are a good team and you play against a bad team, so basically if you're the favorite, you want to eliminate RNG as much as possible. Whereas if you are the underdog, you want RNG. So for a lot of the top teams that we see perform at the biggest tournaments, they don't play Vertigo because it's just not that good of a map to have in the pool. That's at least how I see it. So now we've talked about professionals. Why is it that casuals don't like the map that much? Well, in my opinion, it is because RNG can be good for casuals. The problem is the RNG feels sort of unfair how it is right now, in that if you're playing solo queue or you only have one teammate, being able to optimally clear all the areas or block the CTs from peeking you, well, you need more than 2 utility sets. And that's what makes the map unfun, because when you're actually trying to do anything on a Vertigo, even if you, let's say, I've done this a few times, like you do this smoke and you do this Molotov, let's say you do it properly, right? Even if you try to walk up here, there will probably be a smoke here, and the ramp guy will be holding this, or maybe he will blitz the smoke on timing, or as soon as your Molotov fades here, this guy moves out and he checks this, or there's so many things that can go wrong, and it's just difficult for you to do a whole lot when you're solo. And one of the better things to do on Vertigo in CSGO, again, was actually playing slow, which is also one of the worst things to do in, well, it's not one of the worst things, but it's one of the hardest things to do in like a solo queue game, because typically people play the rounds very quickly. So that's why I think that, you know, top players and casuals alike currently don't like this map. As I said, from my point of view, this map is growing on me. And I think, you know, part of the reason why the map is growing on me is because I'm starting to connect the dots. So I'll show you some piece of utility. I showed you a few of the key Molotovs, but I'll show you some smoke lineups that will make your life easier, and then I will give you a sort of rule, or at least a thought, which is, yeah, when it was told to me, I thought it was kind of mind-blowing. It at least, as soon as I understood that, I felt I understood the A side of Vertigo far, far better. So I don't know exactly the lineup for this one, also because even if I did know the lineup, they changed the jump height and stuff like that in a recent update, so it might fail now. But basically you can go in front of this, and I think, like, if you do it just above this lamp, it will land like this. Oh, I actually messed it up. A little bit above, like a little bit higher. It will land up here, and it will go down like this. But now, as you can see, it's left a gap a little on the side because I'm doing it wrong. I think it might be slightly more like this. You kind of wanted to bounce. I think you wanted to bounce back or something a little bit. It's possible I'm just doing something completely wrong. I feel like this one lands so weird. I know there's another lineup here as well. Maybe it's even... See, this one at least landed correct. So if you're here, I guess you aim kind of like this. And it should work, hopefully. The other lineup is just if you stand here, you can aim. It used to be kind of on this line, but now it will sort of fail because of the new jump height. So just to be like safe, just aim a little below the line and then take like one sneak step and jump throw. This one goes over and it lands inside arch. And what you basically get is you get something that looks kind of like this. Yeah, something like this. So you shut off the fast rotation from the CTs, basically. Now, with this, and you can imagine with having sandbags Molotov, then ideally having a Molotov on back of gap. Now, if you also have a Molotov for headshot, and you also have the Molotov for CT, it's actually quite limited what positions the CTs can play. I'll just do the smoke like this for the sake of it. But basically, if they can't be headshot, and they can't be standing here or here, they can be on this corner, they can be catwalk, or they can be fighting in this space like this, or fighting into gap. Because you will have to probably go in front of the Molotov in that case. And this is... if you get to this point as a T, the likelihood of you winning the round is very big. Because the rotations on the new Vertigo is so fast. And if you don't do the smoke that lands here, the B and mid players can come and fight you on A within a matter of seconds. So you really need to use these two smokes basically every round to gain any sort of control. That might be kind of obvious, but it wasn't that obvious to me. I've seen teams try this smoke, for example, which I thought was kind of interesting. I've seen teams use this smoke, which again was also kind of interesting. And I feel like I've seen something else. Maybe not. Maybe people have even used these two smokes in combination. I think also I've seen people, when the Vertigo just came out, people were doing a smoke up here or something like that. I even experimented with being able to do like these two smokes. Because they are so tall that you can't even be spotted from boost. But yeah, no one really ever boosts anymore. At least I haven't seen it in recent times. So, okay, guys. Yeah, sorry.
Do you think it's possible to do an A rush?
To do what on A rush, right?
Like, do you think is it possible to do an A rush?
Oh,
Because
like that.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I do have a smoke that bounced, that is bouncing, of the pillar from ramp. I can show it to you if you want, but I have to share screen it.
The pillar from ramp. Which one you mean?
So going ramp.
Yeah.
Stand towards the yeah, and the first
Like
pillar
this
on
one?
the right. No,
This
the one
one?
in the right. But you have to throw it while running. But and it will bounce on that square thing. Yeah.
Something
This
like
one,
this?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
so
you'll
one that
go
goes in here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a kind of cool idea. I kind of like that.
I can show it to you on share screen. Like,
Yeah.
let me.
Yeah, let's do it. I will try to set it up so I can show it.
But I don't think I have it while throwing it, but I can show it to like the.
Let me know when you got it. I'm gonna try it myself real quick. Because it kind of doesn't seem that difficult.
Where the hell?
Needs to
Oh,
be
I
even
found
higher.
it.
Oh, it goes through that. Okay, let me
Yeah.
watch your stream real quick, my friend.
Yeah, so basically.
Oh, can you go back one time, sorry?
Yeah, but unfortunately I don't have it while throwing it, so it's just the
Okay.
free throw, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it's just bouncing of this square thing.
Yeah.
It's nice how he's hitting it because it goes exactly over this thing. You have to have good timing,
Yeah.
and then it's like blooming everything here.
Yeah. It's kind of cool. I will show you on the stream or like in the game again, real quick. Why like what I think could be the potential issues with this smoke. Like one of it is that it seems like it's not the easiest smoke, right?
Yeah, you have to have
Uh,
good timing here.
yeah.
Oh, actually,
Yeah, I think you just need to step a little further. The problem can sometimes be with this smoke that it will sometimes leave gaps. I guess if you could find like a safe
I
lineup,
don't think
it's
I
actually
don't think I don't think
no,
because I
it's
checked that.
actually a pretty interesting
Actually,
idea.
NATO, I have an easier way of throwing that.
Yeah, while running.
Stop. No, not running. Stop. Go to sandbag. Yep, in that corner. Stand there. Yep,
Yeah.
in there. Turn around. You see that red banner right to the right of it? There's a little window, dark window.
Yeah.
Aim at the top left of that window.
Yeah.
No, the other window, the bigger one above it.
Oh, this one.
Yep, top left, and right click.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is. Yeah, I guess it's actually fine. I don't know why. I remember throwing this one. The only issue with throwing it like this is you see there's a lot more out. Like it's a lot more out. Whereas if you throw this one, hopefully I don't fail it, because of the way it lands and how it goes down.
Oh yeah, so the
It's-
city can lurk. Yeah.
Yeah, like this one is so much further. I know we had a lineup, and I say we had. I guess we still have, but there is some way. I don't remember it anymore. Where you can also do a double-click jump throw here, that goes up and lands in the window, like on top, kind of. That one is actually quite good to know. But yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the one standing up here, but it does look like they fill out quite well. Like, I'm curious if... I mean, there must be some lineup. Maybe if you
Yeah,
run along
yeah,
this shadow
But I
and
don't
aim
remember
here,
which one.
like, I think this could be good.
Yeah, but I was thinking,
Oh.
maybe if you're two out, the city can check you out and one tap you, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I
Like
mean,
this one doesn't bloom out, so you have to have good timing with this one. That's why it's pretty
Yeah.
hard to hit.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm not so worried about a CT killing me, because I think I would only ever throw this if I already had the entries towards
Yeah.
the A side. I mean, if you could throw it like this, I think it's honestly kind of okay. Like, the CT would be able to jump info here, that's... especially because this board. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there must be a way you can... yeah, I wonder. Either way, I think... I mean, the idea is kind of cool. Maybe it's even possible to find it better in some way. But yeah. Anyway, maybe I will see if I can theory craft that. Because, like, what would be ideal is if you could do something like this, right? And have, like, a... Like, say you get the kills from back here, you just, whatever, line something up real quick, and now you just
Yeah.
run up, and then you do it, and it's, like, perfect lineup every time. Maybe even if you get it to bounce and land up on that, it will fill out different. But, yeah, I like the idea. I guess what I wanted to say, I said I had something that maybe will change the way you think about Vertigo, because it did when I heard it for the first time. If you have this smoke and this smoke, what it allows you to do essentially is not only does it allow you to obviously plant the bomb as long as you are not getting shot from heaven, because you can plant here. That should be kind of safe unless they have like a smoke spam. You can also plant like here, and that should again be quite safe if you don't get killed from heaven. And you can also plant here, which is like for heaven specifically. But what's kind of interesting is if you, as CT, oh, let's say it like this. If I do these smokes and I go fast catwalk, for example, or even if I go this side and I go to heaven, if I own heaven, it's almost impossible for the CTs to retake, ever. Because when you're behind these smokes, the T's can be literally anywhere, right? Like, someone could be potentially headshot. That's not that likely that people will play there, but someone could be hiding here, for example. but someone could be hiding here in the event that we own heaven as T, right? Someone could be standing like this, someone could be standing, you know, like this, or someone could even be standing some off angle like this and checking on timing and check this on timing or whatever. There could be someone in this corner holding like this, so you hold like both angles or even on an angle, or holding a tight angle like this. They could be playing sandbags, they could be playing ramp, they could be playing back of gap. And then we haven't even covered the fact that there can be someone like catwalk or holding this angle or holding this angle or this angle. Like there are so many angles. And then we've also still not covered the fact that, you know, people can be hiding here catwalk, people can be up here. Like these can be some kind of nasty angles as well if you own heaven. And you can also be hiding and playing on timing. So if the CTs don't own heaven and they don't have information on the T's whereabouts, this is basically impossible. Would you guys agree with me?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty hard for them because the site is pretty tight, and if you have it, it's over. It's GG.
Yeah. And
this
also,
can
oh, sorry?
be this can be applied towards the T's as well, because I feel like sorry, not Anubis, but Vertigo, it's like dust to A. Like if you are catch in the middle of the site, you have like a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
Like you have to spread on long and car and all of the like other spots.
Yeah. That's true. I do think Vertigo A side and Dust 2 A side is quite different, but I kind of get what you mean. Like the site itself is kind of tight and small, right?
Yeah. I don't.
But the areas where you can hold the plant from are kind of
exactly.
long ranges.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. And what's also the problem is if I as a T, you know, plant here, I can play this from, again, gap. I can play it from ramp. I can play it from sandbags. I can play it from catwalk, right? And I could potentially even, as the CT is running outside, I could walk out here and then I can come to headshot. And when he presses it, I can jump up and play it from here. Like there's so many options on a new Vertigo for how to play an afterplant on A. And that's just with the kind of worst plant. If I plant here instead, this is tricky because now you can play it like fully from heaven. Or catwalk or sandbags or whatever. And the same if you plant here. I mean, now if the T is just a little smart, you know, he can play it from here. He can also, I guess, potentially do even like an info jump or something like this. Or a T could play it like this, and when the CT starts pushing here, you just run down the catwalk, and it's really difficult for the CT to catch you. So it gives you so many options. Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So, does anyone understand then what is really important late round as CT? Is there something we can do to make sure this doesn't happen?
A lot of map control.
Yeah, but
Actually, no. To have like to the city to be pushed a bit, so you don't give as much space to the T's.
Yeah. So you mean like we should be fighting more aggressively here?
Yeah, kinda. Maybe after killing one guy, you just try to push a little bit.
Yeah, that would be one way to handle it as well. The answer I'm kind of looking for is that if it's almost like the T's win by gaining heaven, right? Then it must be extremely important for the CTs to hang on to heaven, right? Because if you flip it around, if the T's have a smoke here and they have a smoke here, and now they get the bomb plant, but the CTs have someone who is keeping control of this area, then it's hard for the T's to actually take a lot of space, you know? Like, with these smokes, they can't just go and sit headshot. And I mean, they can sit here, but this is not that great of a place to be because if the CTs, let's say, manage to go out and check catwalk, they can check this as well, with how the new map is, right? Like you can go out. So what I'm kind of getting at here is just that as a T, if you want to end on A, if you own heaven, you kind of win. And as a CT, if the Ts are trying to take heaven from you and you lose heaven, you kind of lose. Because if the Ts are inside heaven and you have to go out here and clear everything, it's GG.
Heaven is such an important spot to play then.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, in the old Vertigo, it wasn't as important. And the reason why was because this wasn't as open. So you would always go out here. And also because this door was open, right? So you had a fast rotation to heaven. So let's say the Ts would take heaven. Well, then as CT, you would just go here, check if anyone's peeking you. You would run through the door, and then you would peek heaven from like both sides. And you would win back heaven. Also because there was no catwalk, right? So the Ts could basically only be here, or maybe here, or like sitting like this if they were crazy. So for CTs, it was really easy to gain back control of heaven. But now with the catwalk and with the fact that this is no longer a fast rotation, because there is no door here, it's much more difficult for the CTs to keep control of heaven. And also, because this is the fast rotation from CTs, most CTs who rotate will be going into this space. So they won't be taking control of heaven or regaining control of heaven. And that's what's so key about Vertigo. And as soon as I understood that, I got so much better on this map, because if you go up, for example, and there's a gap player alive, and now I kill the ramp player, whatever, I can actually just try to run here, and if he doesn't fight me, if I get to here, it's almost as if the round is over. Like, if I can get here and I can jiggle peek this, or let's say I can smoke deep here or something like that, when my teammates come up to A side, it's almost over for the CTs. Like, being able to fight from these angles while my teammates are going up here and planting the bomb for heaven is so extremely overpowered. So yeah, that's I think like a little crash course in the new Vertigo. Like some of the things you need to understand. I feel I've now told you what has changed. Why is it that it's kind of such a hated map right now? What could they potentially change to make the map better? Again, I think something as small as just closing this opening would make the map way better. You still don't have the fast rotation, but you have the catwalk, so there's still more area for the seats to play in. And then I've shown you most of the key utility. Like there's some of it, again, like this one, I just don't remember exactly how it is. Maybe it's not even jump throw. Maybe it's like literally something. Ah, it will be jump throw. But at least there's a jump throw here where you can... maybe, actually, I think... Sorry, it's something like this. I think actually it's like this, maybe. Hang on.
Okay, I
Am I
told
crazy?
Spotify that you like this song.
That's my Siri. I was very close here, at least. Is it like that? That actually kind of works. I think it does, yeah. So you can crouch, aim in the middle of the D, stand up, and double click jump throw. And like this, you have a perfect smoke. That's hard to fail. But yeah, I hope you feel like I've shown you some of the key utility, like smokes and motos over on the A bomb side. And also I've given you this idea of taking heaven. So maybe when you go into your next Vertigo, you will have a better understanding of what utility to throw and when. And then maybe you will have more fun on the map, because I think we talked about it before the session, the guys who are here from the academy. Like, it's not like things are typically only fun if you understand them. And when people don't have fun, it's because they don't make sense. And when you look at Vertigo without having talked about it or without having like a pro understanding, how it looks right now, it's very confusing. But I hope this session has given you a little bit more info. I will talk just briefly about how to play mid and B as well, because I don't think it's changed all that much, honestly. Again, for the mid player, as long as you use your Molotov at the start of the round to block and you stay alive, you've done a really good job. If you just jiggle here and you know, don't die when the T's go out, then honestly, you've done a very good job. It's typically very bad to be out here and fighting this area alone as CT in mid, because if you die, it's a really big problem for your teammates. So mid is actually early round one of the easiest, if not the easiest, position to play in the entire pro Counter-Strike. But late, like mid to late round, there's a little bit more stuff you should do. Some of that will be going over to B, for example. I like to use this flash. It's super easy. You just make sure you have a little bit of an opening. You go up to the height of this, and you just throw a flash. This one goes down like this, and anyone who is, well, not anyone, but majority of people who are down here will be blind. If you're standing here, I think you're blind. Okay, see, there is a better lineup for the flash. But this is the one I've used. I know some people even like to sit like, I think they sit like, actually I don't even know how they sit anymore. I think they sit like this or something. Why is it like this? Anyway, as a B player, what is normal to do at the start of the round is doing like a Molotov in this area. The way the T's will counter this is they will just come over, they will do like a smoke on it, and then they will go through it. So what has become kind of meta, or at least is very strong, is after you do the Molotov, if you know they're always gonna smoke it, you can do just a nade like this, and it will blow up the smoke, and you can see. You can see if any B player is going in. Like, not only do you do damage if they go fast in, you blow the smoke and you can kill them, and that's really, really super cool. Other than that, for CT on B, like, there isn't, I would say, a whole lot that... Like, there is some utility. I think this one can be good to know. If you go back here, you aim here, you jump throw. If I didn't fail it, because I did earlier today, I think this... I think they might have changed this as well, honestly. With the jump height. Because it didn't used to go through that gap. Let me see if I change it slightly. So it's supposed to land like this. And this one can be good because it kind of nullifies this boost. It also nullifies people contacting up. But what they can do instead is they can boost over this. They can also boost on this box. And kind of, in some cases, see your movements within the site. So just be a little careful. But it's a really cool smoke to know. Yeah, I think other than this, in terms of important utility, there isn't that much that you need to know as a B player. I'll show you one trick that I think is really overpowered. If you are playing against Tech9, Deagle, whatever, if you are standing on top of this box, it's actually, it looks bad, but it's actually really good. Because if the T jumps up here to try and get a kill, you will see them really early, and you will be able to see much more than their head. So you can aim here, and then you can just go over and spam. If the T's move up here with a Deagle, they are aiming probably at head height like this, and you will be all the way up here. So what they will typically do is they will like see you, and then you'll try to shoot and maybe move back. The problem for the T's in this case is that as they are moving back, you can always spam them through this wood, and it deals so much damage. So even if they peek you and want to get back, you can actually kill them. And at least even if you can't kill them, as long as you spam this wall, the Deagle can't re-peek you, because either they will die or they will be so insanely slow that they won't be able to kill you. So that's, I think, a really good tip for playing against Force Spy when you are playing on B. So yeah, that was a lot about Vertigo A side. That's basically where the changes have been, and then it was also slightly, like it was a little bit overall on the new Vertigo, basically. Any questions, guys, about what I have told you guys today? All right. Any questions about literally anything else?
Do you think they will remove Vertigo from the map pool?
Yes. I think even because some of my videos on this second channel is kind of like they're kind of backlogged. I think I have like 5 videos ready or something like this. So it's possible that when this video comes out on YouTube, that the map has been removed. But that is exactly why it's important that if you're watching this video and Vertigo has been removed, go try out the Academy. It's well, it's not free, but there's 30-day money back guarantee if you don't, if you don't like, if you don't like Gosu Academy, you can just simply cancel it and you'll get your money back. It's super simple, and by doing so, you will be more up to date with my sessions. So any information that I give will be new information instead of information that's about a month old, basically. But yeah, to answer your question like with more detail, yes, I do think Vertigo will be removed before long. I believe they wouldn't change it before the RMR because we're so close. But I think a week after the major, they are taking out Vertigo. Question is what we get instead.
Maybe they'll put overpass back, but
Yeah.
or maybe
maybe train or maybe cash.
yeah. I would love to see Cash.
Yeah.
I
Me
didn't
too.
have I didn't catch the time when Cash was in the map pool.
Oh, that's a
Not even
shame.
train. Yeah, not
Yeah.
even Trey, but yeah.
But
I
I
really
think
want to learn that.
Cash will not be ready so soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe. I feel like he's mostly doing like visual overhauls right now.
yeah.
And I think
but
also no.
he's building the map from scratch again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
this mean
you can check it out on Twitter. He posts updates regular.
Yeah.
So this mean even though Cash will be added back, Valve still has to work on it to do it like properly, like with FPS and shit.
Yeah, or maybe the fact that he's rebuilding it from the ground up means that the
Or
FPS
maybe, yeah.
actually won't be as bad as other maps. But I do think, I mean, I don't know much about mapping. Probably what I'm about to say now is crazy. But it could be a situation where if Valve would approach FM Pwn and say, hey, we want cash in the map pool. You have until next year. I know, well, I don't know at all actually how much mappers get paid, but I'm pretty sure it is a shit ton of money if their map gets in the game. So if they would say something like that, I'm sure he would spend 10 hours working on it every day, right? Because it would be worth his time. But I think the issue and why things are moving slow is because at the moment he doesn't know if Valve will want it back in the pool. So I do think if they would tell him ahead of time, it would be able to be fixed in time for the new season. But yeah, I guess only time will tell. I at least think there's basically no chance Vertigo stays. It's never been a very popular map, which is a shame because I actually think it's a super cool map. But yeah, especially in its current version right now, I simply think the map is just not that good. And I think most spectators and pro players feel the same.
Maybe they will bring back Train.
Yeah, that would be nice as well. They showed it in the trailer, right, for the game?
Yeah.
And that was more than a year ago. So you would think that the map is ready at least. I don't know why they haven't released it yet. But yeah.
Maybe they've waited for an opportunity like removing Vertigo.
Yeah. If they would take out Vertigo and bring back Train, I would not mind at all. Train was a really, really fun map in my opinion. If Train comes back, I can show you all the AWP peaks. If it looks anything like the old one, I was so good at peeking at CT on that map. But yeah, you were saying, sorry?
Maybe they will use it for an operation. Something like bring the whole maps to an operation like Aztec and shit like that.
That would be really cool. I kind of hope that happens. That would be really, really cool. I agree. Please,
Valve, just do something. The game is dying. Please.
Yeah. They actually are doing a lot. Like every day I'm waking up lately, there's a new update, and some of them are small, some of them are bigger, but it's clear that they are investing a lot of time in the game. I fucking love it. Yeah, I really love it. Guys, I think we're heading into like the last 5 minutes of the session or something like that. So if you have any questions you would like to get out, or any piece of utility you would like to see, real quick, I can show you. I'll actually show you maybe why you guys think just some of the coolest pieces of utility, because I think that's part of the beauty of Vertigo is the utility on this map is so fucking good. I've shown this one a few times, but I think this one is so cool. If you just bounce it off the left corner here, it goes up in the corner, and any T who is like holding here will basically be getting blind. Like it doesn't matter if you're holding like this or if you're holding like this. If I did it correct, you will be getting blind so long as you're holding like right side AC. And I think that's so cool. Okay, this one maybe not, but if you're anywhere like this or something, you probably will, or if you're up here. So this is a really cool flashbang to like go with and like just go clear the close corners. There's also like 2 flashes from the same position, which are really cool, but they're a little hard. Let me see, is it like this? No. Because you can actually flash. Yeah, it's like this. Look at this. Actually, I think I'll even do it with an HE real quick. So you do basically middle of this, I believe. And the way it lands is so that it actually takes the close angles. Like this and this. And then you can, by just aiming in the middle of the square, you can do another flash which goes just above the AC. So you can actually get, like, you can get this flash. I'll show you how it looks if you're like playing in this space. And then the second flash is like this. Which is like a super good flash as well. Like almost no matter how you're sitting, like you will eat this flash. So yeah. That is really cool. I guess even there would be a way to find like maybe maybe I'm crazy now, but maybe you could even do a flash like that, which would take anyone who is like holding. I don't know. I was just thinking it could be cool to have a flash out here in case someone is sitting and holding like this. Then it would maybe go around the blue in a way where you don't see it. I don't think it would really have a lot of impact. But yeah, any questions, guys?
I don't think so.
Well, I will tell you a fun fact then. This would be so much fun to throw a smoke into, but sadly it's not possible. I tried it the other day. I would have loved to be able to throw a smoke that lands here. I actually think this should be like an integrity change by Valve.
Easter egg. Nice Easter egg.
Yeah, and this one as well. It would be really fun if this one would be able to go down here. But alas. I'll show you one more smoke, which I actually think is kind of cool. If you're here, I found this the other day. It's a little bit difficult to see, but you see that this one is like bright, where the other parts are red. I found if you do it at the bottom of the white, it's a little bit hard to see because I'm 16:9 right now, but if you do it bottom of the white and you do a normal jump throw, this one goes through this thing, if I did it correct, and bounces here, and then bounces again, and lands all the way out on the corner, and smokes like this, so that, at least if you give it a little bit of time, if I land it correct, this is blocked, and all of heaven up here is blocked. So it's like, yeah, it makes it so instead of using a Molotov, you can use the smoke. Like this doorway you can't really peek from, up here you can't really peek, and then it's only like if someone is catwalk, basically, that you will have to be aware. There might even be like some kind of lineup you would be able to throw. Actually, there's even a kind of cool idea I just had, maybe, but I don't think it's maybe possible if you could bounce a Molotov like that, so you don't have to worry about this area. That would be cool. Maybe you see that in the next section, but yeah. If no one has a question, guys, then as always on these days, I have to wake up in less than 8 hours if I would go to sleep right now, and I still have some obligations like a dog that needs to go out. So unless someone has a question that they just thought about now, I think we close the session. And yeah, anyone got anything?
When does your team play again?
That's a nice question, thank you. So at the moment, I'll give you some dates. Today is the 31st of October. On the 13th of November, I am traveling to bootcamp in Stockholm. And then I'm staying there until Impact Finals starts, which is basically like the World Cup for women, right? Which starts on, well, actually, sorry, it starts on the 22nd of November. And then I fly home on the 25th of November. So from the 13th to the 25th of November, I won't be doing any coaching sessions on Gosu Academy as well, because I will be busy with my team. But essentially, 22nd of November is the date you want to remember. That is when Impact Finals begins, and we will be playing against the world's best female teams live. And you'll be able to even see me on camera, because I'll be walking behind my team.
Mom, I'm on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So thank you so much for asking. Yeah.
Are these finals in Stockholm as well?
Yes, it is at DreamHack that is getting played. Unfortunately, which is kind of shitty, it's being played at the same time as the RMRB. So there will be kind of major qualifier at the same time. So I imagine we won't have that many viewers, but that also means, you know, if you want to stop by, it would be doubly appreciated. So,
Also, all of the things have some weird callouts. Like what? I was on your stream today for like 10 minutes.
yeah.
I heard like booga booga, like I think 4 times.
Yeah, well, some of those names we were just making up as a joke because we don't want people to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
It happens to be that Ooga Booga is actually in our playbook, like that name. But Bahamas is not. Is not. Not yet.
Yep. That's great. I'm gonna do that shit too.
Yeah, good. All right, guys. Let me quickly just say thank you guys so much for watching the video on YouTube. And yeah, if you're interested in joining Gosu Academy, there is a link down in the description. If any of you who is watching here at the Academy have any requests for future sessions, then just feel free to write me a Discord message, or just in general reach out to me before the next session starts, and we can try to make that work. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the session and the video, guys.